Well, I will say we had a really nice time going out with you guys.
It was very nice, and that food was divine, dude.
So we didn't tell Noah that we did Korean barbecue, right? And so we're all sitting around after we got home, and I let out this big old burp, and Andrea's like, "Oh God!" And Noah's like, "That smells really good. That smells like Korean barbecue."
Oh, that's so disgusting, dude. We're talking about Jeffrey Dahmer. I think that grosses me out more. Oh, yuck.
In a world of bad movies, two follically challenged men will stop at nothing to share their opinions of them. Their wives are tired of listening. But are you? This isn't the podcast you deserve, but it's the one you need. Prepare yourself for Bald Guys and Bad Movies.
Welcome to episode 28 of Bald Guys and Bad Movies. I am your host, Troy, along with
Mike Stella.
Mikey. What are we reviewing this week, Mike?
Nom nom nom.
Oh, that's We're reviewing something with the worst fucking title ever.
Yeah, totally.
They couldn't fucking decide what to call this fucking thing. So everything in the end of Fishbowl, they just said go with it.
I heard that it was originally called Monster.
Which makes sense.
It was called Monster.
Dahmer makes sense.
And then, yeah, Dahmer
Right.
makes sense. And then I heard that they decided they wanted to call it Monster, the Jeffrey Dahmer story.
Okay.
But then they were like, well, we want the name to be quickly recognizable that it's Dahmer. So we just want to be able to, let's just call it Dahmer. So I don't know why they didn't get rid of Monster.
So we are reviewing.
Get rid of everything. Just call it Dahmer. Like, that's it.
We are reviewing Dahmer - Monster : the Jeffrey Dahmer story. Wow, that's a horrible title. I don't get it.
It really is.
I mean, almost everyone knows. When you say Dahmer, you think Jeffrey Dahmer. I would think like he's in the zeitgeist of lore now. So
yeah.
Anyway, it's
totally.
not a movie, but it is breaking all kinds of records.
It goes back to our very first episode where we did not review a movie. We reviewed a TV show. Mm-hmm. And once again, we're going back to our roots and reviewing a TV show. Breaking all the rules, just like Jeffrey Dahmer did. I mean, not just like him, but like kind of. Not really, but you know what I mean.
You just keep talking there, Mike. Dig the holes that Jeffrey Dahmer didn't.
Yeah, totally.
300 million hours racked up in the second week for Dahmer.
That's crazy, man.
And I think it's Netflix's biggest ever hit, but in all-time TV, it's up there as well.
Oh wow. Oh wow.
It's just behind Stranger Things season 4, I believe.
Oh wow. That's cool.
196 million hours watched its first week.
Oh wow.
But this is why we're reviewing it. It is Halloween month. This is macabre shit, even though this is a real true crime story.
He is a scarier villain than any fucking monster in any movie.
Even Pinhead's like, God damn, Jeffrey.
Yeah. Hey,
I enjoy some sweet pain, but you gotta chill, brother.
What Jeffrey Dahmer say to Lorena Bobbitt?
I'll take mine with mustard.
You gonna eat that?
Oh. Bitch, be prepared. There's gonna be some insensitive comments, probably.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. It's fucked up. It is a fucking dude. Yeah, first 5 episodes, 6 episodes are just hard to watch.
Let me do the synopsis and then let's do a quick recommend or not. So, Dahmer, Monster, the Jeffrey Dahmer Story is an American limited series for Netflix about the life of serial killer Jeffrey Dahmer, created by Ryan Murphy of American Horror Story fame
and Glee.
And I believe Nip Tuck. Wasn't he involved in Nip Tuck too?
I have no idea.
Anyway. It stars Evan Peters as Dahmer alongside Richard Jenkins, who was amazing. Molly Ringwald. Great to see her again.
Oh, Richard Jenkins. That was his dad, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's phenomenal. And he's great in everything, though. I mean, he's great in everything.
Niecy Nash, she was amazing. So, would you recommend this?
Hell yeah. Well, yes. If you're not squeamish, if you can handle something like this, I would recommend it.
Is it really that gory, though? I was expecting more
it's
gore.
Not,
or
it doesn't matter.
visceral.
It doesn't matter how gory
it is. Unsettling.
Yeah, the reason why it's so good is it takes a page out of the old school horror book where you don't see everything, and that makes it that much worse, in my opinion, because you hear the, as they like to say on the closed captioning, squelching of things being mutilated. You hear these horrific screams, a lot of time through a vent in the wall, which is just utterly terrifying the way they do that. And it's this sense of unease at all times in the show. It's rough, dude. It was really rough, I thought.
For me, there was nothing that would evoke squeamishness, but it was and well done atmospherically. It was very dark. There was a sense of dread.
Yeah, but that's the whole thing. It doesn't. It's not like oh, you're gonna be grossed out by something you're seeing on screen. There's it's an emotional sort of. If you have emotional reactions to movies, unlike Troy, who's like who's like, you know, Mr. Spock over here.
I have no emotion.
Exactly. It'll fuck with your brain. Like it's fucked up. It's fucked up.
Well, it's
really
not a
fucked up.
fun story, people. It is a true story about a sick motherfucker who murdered 17 people.
Oof.
And ate a good portion of those people, had sex with their corpses. I mean, it is about as bleak as you can get. Recommend it if you
like stuff like this, and if you can handle it, I would say watch it. If you like horror films, you can probably handle this. If you like true crime, you can probably handle this. You know what I mean? Well, I will say, most of it, I felt like it got to a point, it kind of peaked halfway through, and then slowly kind of got more and more boring. And we'll get into that. But
we'll get in deeper, but what you should know going in, Ryan Murphy's end to this story was from the perspective of the victims, right? And we're really going to tell the victim's story.
Oh, did he say that?
Yeah.
It didn't always feel like that, though.
No, it didn't, which is weird.
I'm surprised because it really felt more like there were times where you like, well, anyways.
That may have been his early aspiration. So I think.
And then it became what it became.
I think, no pun intended, most everything was tastefully done in terms of it wasn't overly exploitive.
Bullshit, no pun intended.
No, really. I mean that. Like, it was skillfully done. I never felt like they were just going for
shock value,
gross out things.
Yeah, no, they definitely weren't. They definitely weren't.
But to Mike's point, what they didn't show, they implied, and the implication and the dread woven throughout
was probably worse than what.
Yeah, like it's more.
Shown.
That's more powerful than showing me.
Yeah.
A body parts or whatever. Which there were a few flashes of that, but
there were.
They didn't focus in on it. They do have some perspectives of the victims to its detriment, which I agree with Mike. So, but I think if you're into serial killers, you should watch it. Now let's get into it. Where were you when the Dahmer story broke?
I was living in this house.
Very young, right? I mean, what is that? I was
living in this house. When did it break?
When was it? 92, I think, right?
I was in this house on lockdown because of the LA riots.
No shit. Was it that close? It was that close to the...
I don't fucking know, man. The riots were in 92, right? So I'm just,
it's your life, motherfucker. I'm trying to have fun.
Well, I don't know. Like, sometime around then. I don't remember when the Dahmer story broke. I was young to where
94.
my parents... My parents
he
didn't
died in
want
94. It was 92. Sorry.
where my parents would really tell me about that shit. I probably heard about it a little bit here and there, but I never really got that into it.
I remember when this story broke. North Carolina, it was huge news every night. I remember seeing them bringing barrels and boxes, and it was fascinating, right? Like, holy shit.
Now, if I was 18 or 17, like I think you were probably around 17 or 18, right?
Yeah, about 17 probably.
I probably would have had more interest in it as well. But 92, I'm 11.
Mm-hmm.
My parents aren't trying to let me hear about some motherfucker chopping up dead bodies and eating them and shit in his apartment.
Right.
You know what I mean?
All right. I just wanted to kind of set the table here where we're coming from. So what are your... Mike's wiping his nose. It made him real emotional right then.
Oh, come on, man. I even muted the mic and everything. You could have just glazed over
when I
it.
yelled at Mike, he started getting teary-eyed. It's all right, man. It's okay. It's okay, baby.
So some of the things that really kind of stuck with me, I really like the fact that they kind of give you an insight into him as a kid, and he was this weird sort of kid, and he wasn't interested in anything, and then he started getting into interested in taxidermy, and his dad was like, "Oh yeah, something he's into. Let's do it." Which, tell you the truth, I was like, dude, I had a dad who was like, he wasn't into stuff that I was into. He didn't go out of his, you know what I mean? He loved me to death. He was a great guy. He is a great guy and everything. But I was into video games. He would never sit down and play a video game with me. He would never do any, you know what I mean? He wanted to take me out and play sports, which I was never into. He wanted to do what he was into, and he wanted to show me that stuff, which is, there's something to be said about that too. But the fact that this guy literally saw that his son was interested in this kind of fairly morbid, creepy thing, taxidermy, but was noticed that he was into it and tried to encourage that interest.
Yeah, right.
I was like, dude, this is actually kind of a sweet thing. You know what I mean? Even if it's over a fucking dead raccoon that they found on the side of the road, That was one thing that I always felt really sorry for the dad in the situation. I don't feel like, I felt like the mother got a lot of shit from him, but I don't really think she was to blame either. But at the same time, she did leave. I think they just all had, I think she just had really bad emotional problems, and they didn't know how to deal with that shit.
It was a really awful cocktail of genetics and situations.
It was just give her a bunch of fucking pills. You know what I mean? And then who knows if the pills while she was pregnant really did do something to his brain. I don't fucking know.
It might have been the most fascinating part of the series was his family and his dad.
Yeah.
Richard Jenkins gave an amazing performance, dude.
He was phenomenal, man. Yeah, if you ever want to know how not to do a comb over, watch this movie.
All right.
I watched this show, dude. It's like, man, Donald Trump ain't got nothing on this motherfucker.
Well, him and Evan Peters, they really nailed the real life counterparts. I don't know if you've seen real footage of Dahmer's.
I have of Dahmer, but I haven't of the dad.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty spot on. But you're right. I liked how in the show, and it's kind of told out of order. First episode starts with him getting captured, which I thought.
Oh, it does, doesn't it? Yeah.
Which I thought was smart. It keeps it, unexpected, and you mix up the time periods, and it works up until episode 7.
Well, yeah, because then they're not switching up the time period that much. It's all switching up the time period after he's already caught.
Right. And then there was a moment later in the season, in the show, where he admits to the wife that he's had these thoughts similar to Jeffrey.
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, this is
Molly
in me.
Ringwald.
Did you know that was her at first?
I didn't. Andrea knew it immediately. I didn't realize it was Molly Ringwald because, she's old. I mean, we're all old now, right? But I mean, it was just crazy to see her as old, as an older person playing an older motherly type.
She's kind of thick now too. I saw her on something else. I'm like, ooh. You got back now, Molly. You were so skinny back in the day. But yeah, she did. She was fine. Oh, and that was Penelope Ann Miller as
his actual mother. Yeah, Molly Ringwald was the stepmom.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
No, I knew it was her originally. Her, I recognized. I couldn't remember her name until you brought it up. But yeah, I recognized her.
Like, wait. No, Carlito's Way. That's Penelope Ann Miller, whatever.
Yeah. The father, like, he was just, I mean, he was a pretty good dude. But the whole time, one thing at the end in the last few episodes, while they were kind of slow, was there was the moment when he's like screaming at the wife, right? His ex-wife. And he's like, you just fucking left him. You just fucking left a 17-year-old kid all by his goddamn self. And Molly Ringwald, his current wife, was like, stop. She was like, she was like, where were you during that time? And then he was like, oh, fuck, I wasn't there either. Yeah, no shit, you weren't there either, dude. You fucking left too. You left first.
Well, that is true. But I thought there was a little, it was very, maybe it wasn't subtle, but he was writing the book.
Right.
And I forget what it was. There was some moment where she told him something and he should have cared or should have had some kind of response, but he was just so immersed in writing the book. Do you know the moment I'm talking about? She came in the room.
So, but I don't remember what exactly it was.
Right, but it was a moment of, are you enjoying this? Are you enjoying the fact that you're Jeffrey Dahmer's father and you're going to write a book and all this?
I will say, like, he's so excited to write this book. Oh, it's going to be so good. It's going to be so good. And then, like, the lawyers come through and they're like, nah, you're not making any fucking money off this book. Right. Any money you make is going to these motherfuckers. Yeah,
but it's just it's a warning to other, we want to document this. And so there was a little bit of a moment where, like, okay, I think he may have...
Well, also, but I think at the same time, there's been so much bad shit surrounding him for so long at that point that he's trying to find a silver lining. And I kind of like that about his character because he's trying to find something to survive on. You know what I mean? That isn't just this life-sucking monster of a son. Yeah,
the most horrible human being on the planet may have a mother or a father that still loves him, right? And it's so tough as a parent. I mean, what the fuck do you do? Like,
what do you do?
Clearly, there were some missteps taken with Jeffrey, but again, like we were talking about, was he born this way? Like, what do you do?
Yeah.
Or is it he was born, but also conditions and their dysfunction? Because this whole thing was he didn't want people to go.
Yeah.
And, he was abandoned, 17, that's kind of, you're not like a little kid, but still, you're already emotionally fragile. They're always fighting one another.
There's always a backstory to all villains. You can kind of not see how they could do something that horrible. And it will not justify how they could do something that's horrible. But it gives you an insight into what turned them that way. And while they don't deserve my pity in any way, you know what I mean? It's they've had there are these victims. Their victims are really the ones who have suffered truly, right? But at the same time, you can see, like, this guy was fucked over from the beginning. It's hard for me to say I feel sorry for him. I feel sorry for the child he was before he went and started butchering people. You know what I mean? That's who I feel sorry for. I don't feel sorry for him, the monster who killed 17 people and fucking ate them. Like, I don't feel sorry for him getting murdered, getting killed in jail, which I was kind of, I was like, oh shit, you get to see this part, you know what I mean? But I feel sorry for the child who had enough emotional issues to eventually do this, you know what I mean? That's who I feel sorry for.
And the dad wouldn't allow the brain to be analyzed. So we'll never know. But, was he born with no chance in hell, right? Like, I mean,
who knows?
Well, but this leads me to another, not to get all philosophical or psychological, but it fascinates me. This is like
and I think that's why people are addicted to these fucking crime shows. You know what I mean?
But that's what I want to get into with you. There's not one easy answer, and I'm sure everyone will have a different perspective or a reason. But yeah, but if it's in human nature to be fascinated with death, right? And
Right.
those who administer death, by extension, are fascinating. And
Right.
let's face it, they gain a dark celebrity, right? Like Dahmer had fans. That was the thing they covered in the series. Like he was getting fucking fan mail, and they were sending him money. Like human beings, when this is just happened, still fresh, are sending this ghoul, gifts.
And I love the fact that the lawyers made it to not only could the dad not make any money off the book, like they made it to where like they were taking any money that he was sent in jail. I fucking love that.
We're confiscating the Walmart gift cards, the Best Buy, anything from Amazon is ours, baby.
That's some funny shit.
So I mean, and it's the number one Netflix show of all time, and it's about a guy who kills people and murders them and eats them. And it's not like it's a huge mystery. It's fascinating, right? But the true crime genre has, over the last 7 or 8 years, has exploded in terms of popularity. We this is our little podcast, but my God, there's so many true crime podcasts out there. So
I brought this up earlier when we first started talking, was the vent in the wall. The vent in the wall was a character of its own. Like, holy shit, dude.
You know that neighbor wasn't actually, it was a combination of two different people. So the Niecy Nash character, the person she played, was the one that found the boy who escaped and the fucking police brought back to basically be slaughtered. She was a neighbor of the adjacent building.
Oh.
Then there was a neighbor who was across the hall from him. But I don't know if she heard noises through the vent or whatever. That might have been some artistic, which it was well done though. I mean, like if you're going to take some liberties, that's a good way to do it.
That was even better in the later episodes. Like when it does the flashbacks to her like remembering it, and like she's like staring at the vent, and like even after it's over, she like go up to the vent and like, it makes her gag, or like, she breathes by the vent and it makes her gag, or like you hear like screams of just like utter like help me, he's trying to kill me. Like you hear all this shit. Like it's fucking crazy. Like, I mean,
that scene where he brought her a sandwich was actually way worse because the real person ate the sandwich and he brought sandwiches to a bunch of neighbors in the building.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It wasn't just his.
Why? I'm surprised they didn't do more of that.
I don't know why they condensed it down. Like the reality is more horrifying. Like, I mean, who knows? Maybe he wasn't feeding people, but come on. He probably fucking was. It was probably
fucking crazy.
Yeah. But yeah, the vent was it was a great device to imply and exude dread without having to show any details, right?
Yeah,
any
absolutely
explicit images.
I mean, it was, I think the kind of thing that really separates the really good episodes from the kind of mediocre episodes is Jesse Jackson.
That guy was great. Who played Jesse Jackson?
He was really good. He was really good. But once Jesse Jackson shows up, I feel like the episodes are kind of boring, right?
It becomes as boring as a Jesse Jackson speech, probably. Or as coherent. Let's get into that. The show is hitting on all cylinders, and here's my favorite episode.
Yeah, here we go.
Mine too. Was called Silenced. And it focused on the one victim, I think it was episode 6, who was deaf. And you start out with this person as a baby. And this really impacted me because Since something I've said to my family or whatever, but when I'm driving down the street, I'll see like a homeless person. And with my kids, I'm like, you know what? They were your age once. No one aspired to be that way. Everyone, you age everyone down to, they're just a helpless baby with all the potential in the world. It really helps me to feel super sympathetic and empathetic, right? And the fact they started that episode that way, like this was a life. This is a child who had parents and, and had a disability and overcame that disability.
One he wasn't born with either.
Right. Wasn't it like was it a shot they gave her or
something? It was some fucked up thing. It was some medicine that he had that they gave him, I thought, when he was a baby.
Right. It was something like that. He didn't start off deaf. Fucking the medical whatever medicine fucked him up.
Good old 60s. Or whatever.
And then to follow this guy and meet his family, the aspiration to make this about the victims, that one episode
really
was just amazing.
Well, I will say that was the one episode that truly was from the victim's perspective. Mm-hmm. Like, I do feel like the show was like they did a good job of like showing the victims and really giving a feel for the victims' families and stuff. But it always felt, except for that episode, always felt like it was from Dahmer's perspective. You know what I mean? It always felt that way. And so I don't know. It was kind of jolting that it was so well done to be from the victim's perspective in that one because it was so different. Mm-hmm. But it was still really good.
Right, right.
Better even.
Well, and I'm not gonna say they picked the best victim, even though I just said it. But the one that they focused on was so sympathetic.
But it wasn't just that. They also humanized Jeffrey a lot during that episode. Mm-hmm. They humanized him a lot by showing their relationship. Whether or not that's real, I don't know, but they really did.
No. In reality, he had a relationship with him for a year.
For a year?
A year, they had a relationship.
Now, it didn't seem that long in the show.
No, in the show, they completely
felt like a few days, maybe a couple weeks.
Show took a lot of liberties.
2 weeks, maybe. But a year?
Yeah.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Now, by relationship, that could mean they knew each other. I don't know if they were like closely dating.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
So
yeah.
That said,
Damn.
I'm sure the show just shaved off months just to consolidate it down. But makes it all the more tragic. Like he probably really connected with this guy and he just couldn't have him leave. So you fucking murdered him. It's like sad. Anyway, that was a sad episode. Really hit me in a way I didn't expect.
Me too. Because you were like rooting, you're like, yeah, he's gonna, like, the outcome, right? But the whole time you're like, oh man, you could do it. Like, don't fucking hurt this guy. Like, he's so sweet. Like, he's turning you into a human being. You know what I mean?
But what they did was amazing. Like, I knew this guy died.
Right.
And when he left, it was the false lead, right? He left like, maybe he didn't die. I know he fucking died, but I'm still like, maybe he didn't. I'm hoping he didn't, and then he comes back for like his keys or whatever.
I will say, man, like seeing the fucking head in the fridge and like, dude, there was so many just dude, they should do a Dahmer like maze at like Hollywood Forever, like Hollywood Horror Nights this year, dude.
It would be popular, but they shouldn't do it.
Why not?
Morally, because he fucking killed real people, and that's glory. You talk about glorifying a killer. Now he's like got his own theme park maze.
Sure,
Dahmerville.
I guess you're right.
But what did I say?
You're right.
What did I say at
right.
first? I said it would be extremely popular, extremely controversial.
And you're right. You're right. Yeah.
I mean, you build it, people would come. So
it should be right next to the Jeffrey Epstein fucking haunted fucking walkthrough maze.
But what's that maze like, Mike? You on a roll? Keep going.
I think you'd be all about it, Troy.
Why would I? You don't want to bring it up, motherfucker. What the fuck? Why would I be about the Jeffrey Epstein?
I'm just saying.
What? You think I fondle underage girls? No.
I don't think you actually do it because you don't.
Oh, I think about it. I just think about it. Let's get this straight. You're accusing me. You would totally love it, and you're the motherfucker that just thought of it. Thought of the Jeffrey Epstein.
But I thought about it while I was looking at your face.
Right. God, is there any good people who's powerful? I guess no. I guess
what's his face? Fucking the old dude. What's his name? Fucking
Santa Claus.
Not Bernie Madoff. Fucking he's not a good dude.
No, Madoff, absolutely no.
The fucking Berkshire Hathaway guy. Berkshire Hathaway, the guy who does that shit.
You talking about Warren Buffett or
Warren Buffett? Yeah, ain't nothing wrong with Warren Buffett
that we know of.
Yeah. But he seems cool.
Yeah.
What was some of your favorite parts of Dahmer?
Oddly, some of my favorite parts were Dahmer's favorite parts. The butt, the thigh muscle.
I thought he liked the heart.
Oh, by the way, don't look up Dahmer crime photos because Google will reward you, unfortunately. There's like actual, like the photos, because he took a bunch of photos of his victims. There's like one that popped up. I'm like, because I was like, there's no way that this is out there. And it's out there. You sure you want to look for that, Mike?
Holy fuck. Okay.
Wish you didn't see it, huh? I know I did. It was interesting. Dahmer in the trial didn't wear his glasses. And he did it for a specific reason. He didn't want to clearly see the faces of the people in the room. Like, he didn't really want to face up to it and see everyone clearly. Which was interesting because Evan Peters in the show kept his glasses on. But that would have been a nice detail to include. My problems with the show, once he's captured, the energy just dissipates from the show. And it becomes kind of the same premise, the same conceit said over and over and over again for like 4 episodes.
Yeah.
And I hate to say it because it's really, really focused on the victims at that point. But unfortunately, they all have pretty much the same, they're having visions of Dahmer standing across the street. They're having nightmares. Niecy Nash's character, she's hearing things and phantom smells or maybe actual smells. I don't know.
Yeah.
And it's that for like several episodes. And I gotta say, like, it was not as compelling as when they were weaving it in between. Like the first 6 episodes, they did a really good job of playing with time and weaving the narratives and giving the different perspectives. But I think they really dropped the ball on the last 4 episodes.
I'd have to agree.
The victim's family, to have us care, you have to really take time to set it up, set their stories up. And the series didn't do that except for like one person, which was my favorite episode, the silenced episode. That one victim, I think, was an excellent way to make you feel for all the victims.
I'll tell you the truth. I would have been really interested in a show that was just about them.
Yes, if you wanted to do that, and that was where I was going.
That show I would watch. I was thinking that, like, I would like the fact that you said it lasted for a year. Mm-hmm. Holy shit! How do you date Jeffrey Dahmer for a year and survive? Like,
and who is he when they're not seeing each other? Who's he? Is he killing to get his kicks?
Right.
Like in between? Like, how's that working out? Right. So
he straight learned sign language and shit, and so that should have been the sign to me that they were together for a while, because he was able to learn some sign language.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But still, like, Jesus.
It seemed like he was the one that had the closest connection. That maybe.
Yeah.
But it was doomed. Jeffrey had his impulses. So, but you're right. I thought about it because this is what Ryan Murphy said he wanted. He wanted to not make this about Jeffrey Dahmer, but it is about Jeffrey fucking Dahmer. That's why people are watching it.
I think I heard someone saying that he didn't want to, like, humanize Jeffrey Dahmer.
But he humanized.
That's exactly what he did.
Right.
you flash back to him as a child, you're humanizing.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, all of a sudden, he's not just some monster. He's a kid who's gone astray. Oh, shit. I just thought about something, which is kind of weird, right? When I was a new father, I had Kara, right? But she wasn't around when she was a baby. And I remember looking at Noah and just thinking, it was the weirdest fucking thing. I wanted to eat him. Like, I wanted... Yeah, like,
I don't mean to laugh.
I
did not think that was going to come. Okay.
I loved him so much. I wanted him around me so much that I was like, I had this weird sort of like, oh, I just want to eat you up. You know, I just want you to never leave me.
You wanted to take a bite out of your kid. You want to consume.
I did. And I don't think that's an uncommon thing. Like, not like in a weird, like, Jeffrey Dahmer way, right? Where I'm actually going to kill them.
No, in the nice cannibalistic way. It's the nice loving way.
But it's more along the line like, no. But I'm just saying, like, in a way that I want to always have you with me. You know what I mean? Like, it was weird. Like, I remember hearing people talk about, like, oh my God, I love you so much, I just want to eat you. Like, you know what I mean?
I can eat you up. I mean, we kissed their feet
yeah, exactly. But I never understood that. I never understood what that was. And I never understood why people would say that. It always seemed fucking weird and alien to me. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, that's fucking weird. But when I saw Noah as just this little loaf, this little teeny thing, 7 pounds worth of baby, I was just like, you are the cutest goddamn thing. I never want you to leave me. And I could just eat you. You know what I mean? It's like the weirdest thing. And I remember talking to Andrea about it, and she was like, I know, it's weird. Like,
she wants to eat them too.
Yeah. You never understand why people talk about, like, oh, I could just eat you up. You know what I mean? Like, but it's true. Like, it's this weird sort of urge. Like, you never want them to leave you. You want them there always and forever. And it's this, and it's like he couldn't separate the idea from the reality. You know what I mean? The idea of wanting this person around me always because I need someone near me.
Well, in a dependent on them way,
from the fact that you should not be fucking eating people. You know what I mean? Like, he couldn't separate the two as like a weird sort of just like a thought and something you would actually do.
You know, it's around the corner from peeling someone's skin off and making a mask, right? It's a sick form of being intimate, right? I mean,
right.
How much
I guess
more
you're right.
intimate can you get? Like, you're consuming the flesh of someone.
It's fucking weird.
And he said himself, yeah, you're right. And he wanted them to be a part of him. Like, he felt.
And so it's like the average, the normal human being, like, has that urge and thinks that's fucking weird.
I gotta ask Robin if she ever thought about eating our kids. I go in there and a pot of collard greens is a little Logan leg sticking out of it.
You never thought about eating your kids when they were cute little babies?
No.
Okay, so you really truly have no emotions. Okay.
I have no emotion because I didn't want to fucking eat my fucking daughter and son like Big Macs. Get out of here, dude.
Absolutely.
How dare you try to flip this around on me? Like, I'm
saying.
not judging you. I'm not
I'm just saying.
You're judging me because I didn't want to eat my children?
Yes, I am.
Boy, you want this on recorded audio? Okay. Well, we'll let hey fam out there who's listening, who's right. It's not even about right or wrong. Like, I'm not judging. Like,
no. It's not about
I find it fascinating.
Look, what my question is, if you have kids or if you have someone you fucking adore, love, like your family who you just can't live without, have you ever felt that feeling?
Yes,
like,
I felt it.
I want to eat you.
No, I've never felt that, but I felt it.
Not you, but I'm saying other people. Okay. Like, have they ever felt like, because that's something people talk about. You know what I mean? Oh, I could just fucking eat you up. You know what I mean? Like, and I always thought it was just like a concept.
You white people go weird as shit, man. That's a white people thing. Man.
Bullshit, dude.
That's a total white dude thing.
Maybe it is. I'm sorry. I love my kids.
Yeah, I love him, man. I just want to fucking bite his hand off. What kind of father are you?
Saying. I'm
you
not
mean you
saying
never nibbled the earlobe off of your little kid? What the fuck, man?
I didn't say off. Nibbled. I never said off.
I felt an overwhelming sense of protection, of like holding them and like, man, I can't, like, I don't want anything to ever happen to them. And a very overwhelming sense of duty. That's what I felt. For me, eating is hurting. Like I never felt like I want to consume you. It was more or less I want to protect you from motherfuckers like Mike who want to eat you.
You motherfucking asshole.
That's okay. You've outed yourself as a cannibal, and
whatever, Troy.
And hey, it's all good, man. It's all love.
All I'm saying is there are people who understand what the fuck I'm saying, Mr. Spock.
And they keep those people in institutions. So
no, they
there's
don't.
A place for those people.
We don't have institutions anymore.
Did you ask your mom? Did she have that compulsion to?
No. I mean, it was just like a thought. We just taught. It's not a compulsion. We didn't do it. It was a thought, Troy. A compulsion implies you actually feel like you would actually do something.
I didn't know the frequency of this appetite.
No, it's just it's a weird sort of feeling, right? That you're just like, what the fuck? Like that is so weird.
What do you want to rate this, Mike?
I'm gonna rate it pretty high. This is like a 4, I would say. Like
those first 6 episodes, 100%.
It would probably be even a 4.5. If those later episodes were better. But those first episodes are so good. You know what I mean? That it's got to get a 4.
It sounds bad. Oh, it was boring. It's people's actual lives. But that's just how... The problem is how they formatted it. They did such a good job interweaving, going back and forth in time, that when they broke that, and just was a clear narrative, this and that. It felt like the same information being regurgitated.
Yeah.
Then it, in a weird way, it did a disservice to the families because they didn't have much to say. Like it was just them suffering and crying in a church, crying in a hotel room, wringing their hands outside the courtroom.
Yeah.
You know what? I'd say it's a 4. It's definitely the first 6 episodes. And then the episode where he gets killed, whatever episode that is. And probably not even that full episode.
Yeah.
Just the moment where he dies.
I mean, this guy, they talk about Michael Myers as the boogeyman, but Jeffrey Dahmer is the real boogeyman.
Yeah.
I think he truly is.
Because he was cutting the rug in those club scenes. Took his shirt off and everything. He was a boogeyman. What's the name of his school? Is it the Hannibal Lecter Academy for little? Oh boy, that's the principal. You give him fava beans.
You're not even funny anymore, Troy.
You can't give me all this material and expect me not.
What material is it?
Anyway, I appreciate your honesty. I'll take your word for it. Maybe that's the thing that's out there.
It is. It is very much a thing.
I'm a Google.
I guarantee you that it is
I'm
a thing.
I'm a little afraid to Google it, though. Google parents eating children. It may lead me to the dark net.